their usual, heading to Mirage instead, and nuke required if we do need a decider to separate these two teams. But first up, we will be heading towards Ancient. Entropiq, of course, getting to start on the CT side of things. Let's see what AVE have got. It's going to be a fast play by the looks of things over towards the lane, taking that early swathe of map control. Now just starting to push the issue and actually looking for the split in towards middle.
Yeah, you've got the PT50 trying to top head. Is, I believe, the raid boss, indeed rather. Rain or Rasian? I'm actually curious about how to pronounce that name, but we'll find out in a while because Nickelback challenge with the dualies in towards Lamp, gets away with 2 of them. And honestly, those peaks were a little bit separated by AVE as they moved through. Fiat thankfully eventually got the trade, but now they're left in an incredibly difficult 2-on-4, and well, a bit separated as they push through from the cave and the ramp, not able to help each other all that much, and Elian just swings. His stats have been absolutely nutty for this team as of late, and just in general. He struggled slightly at Funspark, which is, I think, part of the reason that they had a bit of trouble, considering he normally does lead the way so much in the fragging department. But I think I can forgive him for that. He showed some promise at Pro League as well, even though they kind of had a bit of some trouble there. I think only even managing to beat the Brazilian teams in Team 1 and Furia and struggling in those other games.
Yeah, he certainly is the star of this Entropiq lineup, but some good consistency behind him, the likes of Lackey, Forrester, Crad, and even to a lesser extent Nickelback able to have impact and able to contribute to the roster. Of course, no bomb plant, nothing to really work with into the second round. AVE opting not to force buy. We'll just be pulling out the default Glocks. An opportunity here for Crad if he can get that MP9 up into the faces of the unarmored opponents. Get some good damage to open things up. He is fairly proactive down the B ramp, so should have some information sooner rather than later as Nickelback opens the account. And well, for Entropiq, just about getting through this cleanly, and that's exactly what they've done. Flawless round near enough. Crowd finishes things off with the MP9.
Yeah, good work. Yeah, as you were saying, it's even though Elian does tend to lead the way by a decent amount, it's kind of, I suppose, different to some other teams where you don't have a second and a third fragger necessarily. They're all pretty capable, as you mentioned, so it's always a positive. You have players to fall back on. But it's just always exciting to get to see Elian on the AWP. He's an absolute monster. So it'll be exciting to see when he pulls that out. Obviously, for now, though, sticking on the AUG, he's got himself a scope. He's happy enough to stick to that one up against what he knows will just be a full rifle buy now coming through from AVE. Well, that is the case. AIDS could be slightly better, but they do have a relatively decent one here to try and make work. And it looks like they want to slow it down even a small bit coming into this gun round, at least in the mid area. Fiat trying to move forward, may catch Nickelback pushing up through lamps. Yeah, there's a small gap on the edge of the smoke. This could be dangerous, but the timing for Nickelback is perfect. Manages to take that kill onto Fiat. I was going to say could fall back if he wanted, but he's got Crad also pushed up on the ramp now, so likely to just go ahead and get the upgraded weapon. His teammate could probably even take the FAMAS, and AVE, with just over a minute left on the clock now, need to start working to recover this round. They've lost all of the B side of the map, but that is a wild peak from Nickelback, and isn't really necessary in my opinion.
Flashbang just didn't quite seem to click in the intended position, so a frag given back. 4-on-4 now, the mid control to be contested. It's going to be Lackey put under pressure, tight angle to deal with, does very well to find the clean headshot. And again, as we double back and once more AVE try and make it work over towards this B site. Crad's in a fantastic position, as you said, upgrading onto that AK-47, spots out a couple, already calling for the rotation of Elian. He'll make his way, not on the AWP, but on the AUG, the only scoped rifle for the CT side, to try and give himself a little bit of breathing room. Set smokes come out to lock Elian out of the fight, but you can see already Forrester also rotating in, and a ton of damage through the smoke, which Crad will begin to mop up. Sugar doing what he can, has got the first, but he's 1v3, and on just 16 points of health, it's all too easy. A third round for Entropiq, by and large, due to that utility, just isolating and locking out those early duels in the lane.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, only a few casualties even haven't been suffered so far by Entropiq. We're getting a very commanding start coming through from them. I haven't built up too much money, honestly, considering that. You do have Nickelback and Crad, unfortunately, who've lost their lives in a couple of those rounds. So you can see the reinvestment is still left them in a position, rather, where AVE could break them down within a gun round, but it would really rely on them now managing to get some damage done with the bit of investment they've got here. Keep it in the economy, rather, in a comfortable position. Crad, nice little swing in. Again, that deep smoke just gives them plenty of room to play around. And this is a bit different to how I've seen Ancient being played the last few days. More similar to what we've been getting in general, Wolfie. But when I was with Mike during those qualifiers, we got a few Ancients, and we were getting teams just playing super passive CT sides. We had, I think, like a nearly 11-4 T side at one point. Ooh. It was an interesting day. I'm forgetting which team it was exactly, but it seems like we're getting back to kind of normal for Ancient right now. Anyway.
Yeah. I think Entropiq showing they know just how to play the map. The utility's been solid. Damage needed in this one by AVE. They're going to boost a man up, but Forrester is all too ready for it. And again, just whittling down the numbers on these Deagles. They're trying to get what they can, but Lackey and Forrester on 2 recovered AKs. One goes down. Clean headshot from Raijin for the second. And out of nowhere, this one gets a little bit awkward. Elian looking to stabilize things, will come in with a double spray down to finish. A couple of nice headshots, and AVE just starting to stretch their legs and show us they're not just going to roll over.
Yeah, I like to see that from one of the newcomers as well, I believe. At least to me, since Waterfall and Sphere are the players I recognise. I don't think the team has got all that much experience yet together. I think they've had a couple of months working with each other at this point. Yeah, I think they've got around 40 maps or so together as a team. So in comparison to Entropiq, obviously, who've had their 5 for a very long time. Yeah, the experience isn't quite the same, but still plenty of time to get things prepped and all. And, well, look at this. This is, I guess, a bit of a counter to the fact that they've been pushed down ramp multiple times now. Trying to catch Crad on the aggression. Not going to be able to do so, though, as the flashes go over. He was initially blinded, but he gets away with the first kill. And the rest of AVE, at that point, they're just playing way too timidly. At least in the places where they need to be. The man up on mid is going to get caught by the aggression from Lackey as well. And I love this from Entropiq. Even despite getting that initial kill on B, they decide, okay, well, let's go take some map control anyway. We'll send Lackey forward around through mid, just because they knew that so many of those players were focused on B. It was basically free control. And even though now, rather, he's fallen back, it still doesn't really let AVE work back in that direction, because they will spend so much time having to clear it out. So they do just want to focus this towards B still.
Counter followed by a counter. They lose the ability to take that fast control of the B lane instead. Take the fast control towards mid. Nickelback playing with fire as well. Should be spotted. Waterfall's peering over the top of the smoke on the boost. Yet to see anything, however. Now the rotation. Missed shot comes in from Waterfall. Should give the game away. Elian still scoped up on the B ramp as the 3 remaining players from AVE gonna try and get something done. Clean flick from Elian for the first. And now with Raijin again. Low on HP, being spammed down by this Orc, and just 25 seconds left on the clock. He's pinned in. He's trying to pre-fire, trying to wait for some utility, anything they can do. Sviat is good for at least 1, but that's it. Quickly mopped up again. Entropiq, their CT side looking strong. And AVE at the moment just don't have the response.
Oh, struggling to break through, and, well, this is the map as well where I was thinking that AVE might have a little bit of a chance to get themselves into it, just because it's a little bit of a slightly more unknown, I suppose, for Entropiq. They do play it. I guess it's kind of known. Their just stats haven't been too great on it. But obviously with Mirage coming up next being a fantastic map for Entropiq, they're definitely going to struggle there. And even if they had have managed to get at the nuke, even though it seems like a decent map for themselves, obviously Entropiq once again are very capable of playing it. So Ancient really is their opportunity to try and steal a map away and maybe get themselves into the best of 3 in general. See what can be done here with just the pistols once again. Entropiq on track for a 6-0. The question is, how smoothly in this round? And, well, pretty darn so it seems. Crad has already got himself to 2. Where, I mean, it's deja vu every round as he pushes forward on B, really.
Yeah, already lane control lost. AVE trying to stretch their legs in mid as a result, but Forrester is now starting to make that rotation around, and as he takes out Poria, he's going to swing wide, cleaned up. Waterfalls falls. Elian gets the lone pick over on A. Doing a good job at the very least of just cycling that AWP around. Not allowing themselves to be second guessed. Giving them a little bit of breathing room. Already 6-0 on that CT side of things. The rifles will come out again for AVE. Of course, maximum loss bonus at this point. So should be buying pretty much every other round. But in need of some impact, because that CT cash is starting to build up quite nicely. You can see Entropiq feeling confident in this one. Something has to change. Something has to be forced by this T side. They are going to get going. Elian rotating that orb this time in towards mid as Raijin again caught between a rock and a hard place with the mollies. Crad flying down this B ramp. The flashes are excellent, and he's going to get the freebie once more. lane control taken in its entirety, and he's calling it open. The rotations are coming in towards A right as the execute looks to line up. Forrester a little bit isolated at the moment, but already those rotations flooding in as Forrester just behind the plateau goes for the spray down. Team kills amongst it. At the very least, still competitive in the 2-on-3 as Waterfalls and Sugar try and make something of this. They've got time to play with, but again, those smokes starting to fade, and they've still got to get that bomb across to the site. Spotted out by Lackey. Sugar taking out his teammates in the meanwhile is starting to make this one a little bit interesting. Lackey isolated, can't find the headshot, and Crad is left. 1v2, low HP bars ahead of him. Still plenty of time and still a bomb that needs to be planted for this T side, and Waterfalls is going to give away the freebie. One tap to secure it. They know where Sugar is, and the spray down from Crad connects. 7 on the board for Entropiq, and AVE dropping the ball.
So close as well after a fantastic attempt from Sugar. Doing what he could, creating very tight 1v1s from within that temple and bringing them all the way towards the 2-on-1, but Crad is just too much for them to handle. Overlooking it. He's 10-1 right now. Having a pretty fantastic performance. As we said, really anyone on this team is capable of stepping up when needed. Elian just tends to be the one who leads the way in the stats as he has that up, and with how aggressive they play as well, he's going to be the one trying to lead the early frags a lot of the time. Oh. Let's see, Rajan pushing up towards the lamps. They made it through the molly, but it wasn't really all that easy to do so, rather. A ton of damage was dished out, so even with that man advantage, even with the first blood being found, it's not going to be an easy close on the round itself, as they don't have the greatest of weaponry either to back it up.
Look at the rotation from the CT side. Everyone is here. They've completely abandoned the other side of the map. They're that confident that this is going to be a B hit. The minute and 15 left on the clock. All 4 lying in wait, and as the smoke start to come over the top, this stack will be validated. Rajan trying to spam his way through, not going to connect anything, but the bomb's actually doubling back. They faked it out on B, and instead they're going to walk into a wide open A site. The CTs trying to scramble this rotation around. Rajan still lying in wait of Crad, and as he looks the wrong way, they will take advantage. Forrester at the very least trades, keeps the rifle unrecoverable, but the A site is lost. The utility keeps the CT side out for now. And 3-on-4, a decision to make. They don't really know how much damage they've got done. A lot of it was unconfirmed by the Molotov. The double peak works out beautifully for Waterfalls. And now 2-on-4. This is looking very promising indeed for AVE. They're in great afterplant position. Saviak gets one more, and that's job done. Elian wants to back out and save this AWP, but he's going to be hunted.
Yeah, and I do believe a player coming in behind on mid should pretty much ensure that this weapon isn't going to be brought away. You're not going to push the issue either. Waterfalls just waits for him to come this way, and now should have the op even if they want it. I don't believe seeing them rocket yet, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to make it work. Obviously against an upper like Elian, who is he's going to be pretty aggressive. He's going to be taking a lot of those duels, and well, so far it seems like Waterfalls is going to go ahead and stick to it. As I said, being the man that I do actually recognize from this team all the way back in the day. I think he played on that Peter team or Peter when I first started like properly following CS myself. So he's been around all the way since my beginning anyway. So 2014. Let's see whether Entropiq, of course, can fire right back. If they don't, if AVE get the second round, despite having such a rough start, they'll just straight up have an opportunity to start chaining some rounds together and would likely be up on at least 3. Who knows, maybe a bit more off the back of that would go their way. So you can see the chance to get back into it right now. Can they snatch it up, though? Time will tell. At the moment, though, a much more standard default completely across the map. The problem is, look how much control they've lost. Again, pushed forward on B for Entropiq. They have a man in Donut as well, so it's not like they're just sitting back on the bomb site on the A side of the map either. And AVE really aren't making much of a push. I think expecting that aggression to come in and hoping for a punish.
Nice nade stack onto Crad at the very least. Tags him down. They are sneaking a man around these smokes on the A site. Sugar toying with it as Elian holds instead for the boost. Looks like AVE want to end up over towards this A site once again. Elian flashing himself onto the angle. There is presence here once more for the CT side. 3 players in close proximity, a 4th on a fast rotation. Elian hits the early leg onto Waterfalls, and now he knows exactly what to expect. Resets himself on the angle. Smokes and Molly's not really going to flush him out. That's a lovely little flashbang now, and now they look to cross, but Forrester is there. The double spray down, the bomb drop, the information gathered, CT side, finding picks left, right, and center. Waterfall's doing what he can, has managed to grab one back, and Poirier does find a quick second, leaves him on his own though. 1v2 now as he deals with Lackey. He has got the sight, but the double temple setup isn't expected, and Elian is there to mop up where Forrester cannot. Entropiq have their 8th, that CT dominance continuing, but their economy is starting to get a little wobbly, and they may not be able to buy fully into this one.
Ouch. I mean, it's rough because they could have just put Entropiq in that position instead. Now they are struggling a small bit. Never mind, they've managed it a bit better than I expected. So it's going to be I think just a slight lack of nades on Rain or on Rajin. Is that what we're going with? In theory, it could be either.
Rajin?
The silent J is catching me
right.
off guard in some languages. But yeah, we'll go with Rajin. If we're corrected, sure we'll know in the future. Either way, though, aggression again around lamps. This time, though, they've doubled it up rather than pushing down on towards the ramp as well. And I don't think Sviat was expecting it. His teammate tried to flash him through, but it's easy pickings for the op. And now AVE, once again, feeling the pressure. They need some openings, and Sugar's going to deliver. He's looking pretty solid. He hasn't had a consistent performance as he's only contributed, I think, a 3k in one round, and obviously now a 1k here and there. We'll see a good first blood early on in the round at least. And, well, unchallenged so far as Rajin is going to get himself another one before Sugar eventually falls. But it's still a sweet deal overall for AVE. Oh, unless this man in the corner gets caught. I don't think he's going to be escaping either. So this is getting a little bit dangerous. But no, never mind. Entropiq topple all over B. Suddenly Forrester's alone.
Damage on a couple of players, but AVE should have this one in the bag. Bomb making its transfer towards the site. Forrester, there's a slight gap in the smoke, but he's not being given anything around it. Trying to work through the angle. Will grab his first. Rajin now the only player with full health, but Waterfall still posted on that AWP. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to clear off this corner. Forrester, no information to work with. Only one flashbang to try and gather intel, and with that bomb already halfway ticked. Just 15 seconds left to get into the site. Waterfall's posted on the long lane on that AWP. Misses the shot, but Rajin is there to back him up. A big triple kill from him over towards the B side of things as AVE do get their second round and do actually break the economy of Entropiq.
Okay, so, Wolfie, apparently it's Rajin. Japan. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It makes sense. Sounds right if it is like a Japanese type thingy. I've never watched any sort of like even Japanese dubbed show, so I'm not very familiar with Japanese pronunciations and stuff. You can get away with all the European ones usually, just because we see them so often in CS at this stage. I think that's the only reason I've gotten used to pronouncing so many crazy names. Not gonna lie. Definitely does come in handy. But AVE, they've got themselves a really strong position now. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen the Force come in, considering Lackey's on a double eco. Alien's not looking too much better. I think with the current scoreline they have, they're happy enough to just maybe give a little bit away, try and get a few kills on these pistols, and well, that was ambitious, crowd. I don't know what you thought you were getting with a USD walking through a ramp smoke. I guess was hoping that the players rather would just be waiting on the other side when the smoke faded. To be fair to him, though, a lot of the time he's pushed up there, there's only been one man, so reasonably you could think there's a chance maybe of stealing the gun away. But I would have liked if maybe a teammate just peeked through at him at least.
Felt like he was just hoping for a miracle, really. That's all you can ever hope for in these kind of rounds. There's not a lot you can get done. Lackey caught by the backstab. They've gone for a stack over towards B, and it's a nice idea. Asian does take a dink down to 48. Again, he'll just reset. Bomb will make its way back. Waterfall's now posted on the angle. A little bit of overkill for the AWP. Spots out the shoulder. 30 seconds left. I mean, the information is all there for AVE. Should have everything they need to plan this execute out. The bomb is going to make its way back around towards the A site. Going quickly through the spawn, though, so the water glitch should give the information. Doesn't look to be a reaction, however, from the CT side. The A site wide open for the taking, so bomb will go down. AVE will have their third, and just about getting through it without any casualties. Make sure you don't lose any to the pistols after time. Look to clean things up. Sugar already posted proactively. Very nicely set, AVE. Third round should be a shoo-in.
Yeah, and I think these 3 kills might be a shoo-in for Sugar. Indeed, there we go. Doesn't even take any damage in the end. It's actually a quad kill overall. As I said, Sugar, one of the younger players. I think he's 22. I think it's Ryan and Poria, who are both 20, so they're the youngest of players on the lineup. I mean, not super young, but still relatively young. I don't think they have a lot of experience behind them either. So coming into this lineup with the likes of Waterfalls and Sviat is obviously going to be a good learning experience for them, especially if they can manage to put in good performances here against Entropiq and such. They'd obviously make it this far already into the closed qualifier. They'd like to keep that going. It's just that they've got a pretty tough challenger here immediately, pretty much. And this buy, I don't love. As I said, there was a double eco onto at least Lackey, and it wasn't far off onto one of the other players as well. So it's not a great buy. I guess with the confidence they have, they do believe they can make it work. But it's a chance for AVE to pick this one up and suddenly propel themselves towards 5. Still have a chance at maybe even 7 on the half.
It's a rough buy in terms of utility as well, and that's where we've really seen the CT side excelling, and they've had that extra util to make it work. This time they don't, and already punish. Rasian swinging in, deals with Nickelback. It's a nice little pot flash in, and immediately the man disadvantage now for the CT side. Elian trying to work something. Still holding that ramp angle, as once again it is going to be B-site aggression. 4 players for the T-side queued up in the lane, waiting for any repeats. In fact, expecting Entropiq to be a little more proactive with this one. Nothing given up. The utility starts to come through. Little smoke into the lamps just to try and hold the T-side off for half a second longer, as now Crad tucks himself in, will maintain the lamps control for now. Flashes over the top. Elian burning alive just to play around this pillar, and he's got it all to do. Smoked off his first angle. He's trying to buy time. Lackey trying to push up the long lane as well. Has got the timing, and through the smoke, he's got 2 to keep it competitive. Elian will trade his death. And 2v2, it is a long old rotation away for Forrester, and with low HP, Elian going to be found through the wall. Another clutch required, this time a 1v2. Forrester starting to make his way around on the flank. 8 seconds left. They will be able to get this bomb down, but they're not going to be expecting the flank. The freebie comes through. Now Svea in the one-on-one. Tucked on the left-hand side. Plays the off angle beautifully. AVE have 4. The economy breaks again for Entropiq, and this comeback starts to look real.
Yeah, from what had initially been just such a dominant showing out of Entropiq. I think first 4 or 5 rounds, they only had 3 casualties between Nickelback and Crad, right? Everyone else had kind of just managed to survive. So it took a bit of a swing, definitely, since AVE have got their weapons going. And well, it's an impressive showing, and it's one that they need, again, with this being their choice. Things I don't think will go quite as well moving on to Mirage next. It's one that they do play a little bit. Having a look at their stats, they actually even took LDLC to an overtime in their most recent matchup. Before that, though, they kind of got smashed by Blink. So it can apparently be a little bit up and down for them. See what can be done here. Waterfalls either way going to have an easy punish on the first pistol that tries to push through, and well, I should confirm that they're up against an eco, but I'd imagine they knew that either way. Shouldn't really be taking too many risks from this point on. A 5-on-4, play it together, and well, a 5th round should be going onto the board for AVE. They could walk into a bit of an awkward stack. There's 2 players at least up on A. It's about to say Forrester up close with the pistol needs to get the heavy lifting done, but it isn't going to happen, unfortunately. Sugar, he's there to go ahead and clean it all up, and well, we're pretty much done in this one, Wolfie, especially as Rajan comes in from behind. Does he want a knife? It'd be a bit too much. No greed here.
Mops up nicely regardless. AVE, strong comeback. That CT economy just utterly crippling Entropiq. To such a strong beginning, all it takes is 2 rounds south, and they find themselves into the ecos, into this awkward territory of do we buy, do we commit? We're lacking utility. This time, Elian having to go glass cannon to get the AWP out. Rifles and AWP available for the T side, of course, and they're going to try and pile this pressure on. Already fast through mid. CT side, they want to take that control away, but it's a split onto Nickelback. It's only the early 1-for-1, and as they try and push down the ramp through the smoke, they're being punished. Crad just about able to survive and get away with that one. Through the smoke finds Poria. Out of absolutely nowhere, if we're being honest. It's a man advantage for Entropiq, and they're looking to push the issue even further. Execution from Lackey. The lane split into mid works out perfectly, and AVE now 2-man down. Bomb isolated back of mid, trying to make up a plan. How on earth do they even get into the site?
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. Lackey up close as well. If he isn't cleared, has a free kill. And that is the case. Waterfalls was just making his way in from mid. Let's actually catch Forrester, and I think that might push him now towards A. he gets that kill onto Elian fast, and there definitely is a chance for the bomb to go down. Obviously, you're actually even seeing Crad pushing all the way through spawn, so that would be a fairly long rotate. Unfortunately, though, he's not going to move in quite yet, but he may have a chance here on mid. I don't think he realizes Lackey is crossed, although his teammate may have called it as he's looking to check. The drop must have been heard, rather. And he will get himself that frag, but then move back A. This is unfortunate, right into the upper. As I said, that flank as well coming around, so he needs to move quick if he is to get himself this kill. Flash in, and it's not going to catch Elian. Hops back around towards main and just takes himself a new position. Posts up, and, well, Entropiq up to 9. Unfortunate for AVE, but, well, honestly, they've done a pretty good job so far at recovering this half, and if they can manage to get the 6th, then I think they'll be feeling really good.
Would be a solid recovery considering the early 7-0. Struggled to break Entropiq down, but once they did, courtesy of some interesting economical decisions, able to string a few together before Entropiq could respond. Again, this time though, the utility available, and again, Crad just wandering down the ramp, the spray down onto Raijin. He looked away from the flashbang. Does not matter. The early man advantage taken, the lane control again lost. And once more, as a result, we're going to see AVE almost forced to buy their hand to execute in towards this A site. Throw their first full set of smokes. Nobody really committing behind it, however. There's Sugar having a little bit of a poke. Rest of the team now starting to loop their way through short. But the timing's going to be rough. These smokes are already going to be 75% of the way done by the time they get towards this site. And with so much presence here now for the CT side, Waterfalls does well. Finds the early pick, but they should know the game is up now. Lackey trying to play close with the MP9. A couple of players still in support. Molotov will flush him out, however, and right across the crosshair of the AWP. Lucky to be alive. Timing is going to be the name of the game now. Jumping across, Sugar takes the leg on the chin. Gets the map control thereafter. Gets that bomb down as well. And now 4-on-4. Lackey flashed in to try and get something going, but Waterfalls has still got him locked in towards Temple. And this CT side, they're struggling to get into things here. They're struggling to get anywhere near a solid position. An early trade 1-for-1, but again, that bomb just keeps on ticking, and the afterplants are solid for this T side. 2 smokes left. CT's trying to rush on in, but Waterfalls has got another big pick. Will be backstabbed by Crad, and that starts to make things a little bit interesting as Elian charges into the site. Still got to clear out Sugar, who's behind that big box, lying in wait, and that will be the kill that decides it. Crad very late on the rotation out through short, really not going to be able to do anything at all. Porio will deal with him. And a solid recovery from AVE, 9-6 as we head into the halftime. We'll have to see if they can keep it going after the break.
Smoke clears, I'll still be on my feet. Forget all of my fears, cause I know my destiny. I feel a champion waking inside of me. It's in motion, the legend spoken. This is my moment. Can't break my focus, know where I'm going. This is my moment.
pretend that you will make a change, 'cause you don't wanna change. I'm gonna be real honest this time. I'm okay with it, I am more than fine. I'm gonna roll all less red dice now.
Solid start from Entropiq, but just dropping off ever so slightly towards the death of things. AVE taking full advantage, and 9-6. This map is yet to be decided. Entropiq, of course, heading onto that T side. A little bit of utility picked up. Elian's going to be raid boss with the P250. And it looks like they want to go for some early control. Really not pressuring B at all, however, which is a little unusual.
Yeah, almost the exact opposite of what we see in pretty much every round from AVE on their T side. They love the old B approach, and, well, we had seen them clashing with the aggression from Entropiq a lot. Not quite the case here, as both teams take things relatively slow, and it's set up for what is going to be a split now coming in towards the A bomb site. It's going to be a tough hold. They do at least have 3 players here, but you've got one man pushed aggressive in on Dono, who might struggle to stay alive unless he can just take these kills straight up. Sugar, though, the distraction coming in for him in the background to try and get the work done, but he's not able to. The Glocks reign supreme all across the map. They unfold, and Sviat and Ryan now are left to try and save this 2-on-5 with, honestly, not really much damage even being done. They do have a kit, which is a small positive, but it's the only man who's left alive now, being Sviat. He's going to have to back away, and I think he has an idea that player's coming on in mid. Must have heard the footstep of Nickelback, and indeed he did. I mean, at this stage, you've got a kit which would have been nice to save, but you may as well just try and take a kill or two, and, well, it's denied. Okay, so Wolfie, I know I went wrong here, right? So obviously, we were informed earlier on about Ryan. Turns out he is the Thunder God in Shinto or something, I think it was. But in Shinto and Buddhism, he's also the protector of temples. So what they got wrong there was they didn't have him on A in temple. That's a simple solution. They would have held it way better.
See, you told me in the break it was going to be bad. And I still didn't think it would be that bad.
When have I ever given you a warning before?
You exceed my expectations every time, Dean. It is truly magnificent. But Ave's CT side still struggling. Certainly far less than magnificent. That one, I kind of feel for the man behind Platt there. If he's got a CZ or something, he probably gets 3 kills for free, right? But the USP up close and personal, it's very 50-50 at times. As soon as you start spamming that CT default pistol, you're going to be in trouble. You've got to try and go for those clean one-taps. Otherwise, the Glocks will just run you down. So 10-6, double digits up for Entropiq. Force Spy going to come through from AVE, but it's not the best one in the world. As always, these second round CT forces very lacking in key areas. Utility limited, firepower limited. Going to be on to Waterfalls to really tag up some players for the Deagles to execute into. And, well, looks like they've at least called the stack halfway right. 3 players over towards this B site as the execute coming in early. Utility dropped just to try and buy them a little bit of breathing room. There is an awkward smoke thrown by the CT side, and that allows Sviat to get out. He's got an isolated Forrester right in the gap as well, and is able to pivot onto Krad. Takes the dink, but finds 2 kills in response, and an early 3v5. That B bomb site still under siege, but the smokes are starting to fade, and the bomb is in no man's land.
Yeah, so open, and Lackey himself caught in the corner. Will need, of course, to still move forward, so the only really thing they can do is attempt to recover that bomb. As you can see, the numbers peeking through the pistols, I was going to say, doing some pretty decent damage, but never mind. They weren't all peeking at the exact same time. You've still got Poria miles away, but it doesn't matter. Ryan and Sviat get it done. Big headshots land. They steal away the round with what was not a great force buy, to be honest, but as you said, a good call being made for that stack to come true. They took the risk, they took the gamble, it pays off, and, well, AVE get right back into the building up that comeback that we had seen them throughout the second half of that first half, having pretty good control of. So we'll see whether it continues. If they can overcome this force buy, then we're going to be getting really, really close. The next gun round could even propel AVE into the lead.
That one smoke really almost wins them the round. You see the underarm coming in from the dig player. Just gives him a little bit of a gap, forces the T side into an awkward lane where they can't really take any fights. And as a result, the Deagles swarm in, and at that point, that is when those pistol force buys are at their most dangerous. Counter force will still be coming in, but Entropiq reeling after that previous round. No bomb plants, so they're down to the Deagles and Tex. Krad, the only player able to upgrade to an SMG. See, they're queued up. They want this B site once again, but they were hoping for over-aggression and early pick to be given their way. No such luck early on. And with Molotovs available for the CT side, they can stall this one out brilliantly. Raijin spots it. Molly goes over the top. That will stall the hit right as it looks to come through. They want to go through it. They're toying with the idea. They will get a couple of players through, but the spray down is good. Raijin and Sviat with 3 quick kills have sealed this one. Forrester and Elian left to pick up the pieces, get as much as they can. At the moment, not even a single frag found. AVE stabilizing brilliantly. Their CT side off to a flying start after the failure of a pistol. And Entropiq on a very rough eco.
Yeah, this is... Oh, I actually bumped my mic there. Apologies if that was loud for anyone. This is looking way rougher for Entropiq than I really thought it would. Especially with that start. I mean, kind of just coming into the game, we said Entropiq were going to be the heavy favourites. The way the veto went down, to be fair, we said there was some chances here for AVE. But after that start for Entropiq going up just so dramatically in like the first 4 or 5 rounds and barely even suffering casualties, it didn't seem like AVE were going to be able to give us a lot. But a great recovery in terms of the mental, just reset themselves. And since then have looked fantastic. And as you mentioned, up against the full eco here, I don't think it's going to change quite yet. The guns, though, should be there in the next round either way for Entropiq. But as I mentioned, it's the next gun round that could put AVE even into the lead. Before you know, he's going to have multiple players coming his way. An awkward position for the spray down as they do manage to at least create space well on that angle, jumping across. But dealing with the second player apparently is not going to be quite as easy. Jugger on the MP9 who gets himself 3. And as I mentioned now, this one, AVE, they pick it up, suddenly they're up on 11, they have themselves the lead, and, well, maybe we're thinking about them even having a shot in this series.
Starting to see why the ancient pick came through. Felt like a bit of a roll of the dice, but AVE looking solid. Entropiq on the back foot once again, still with the lead. With rifles in hand to try and have impact here. Set mollies come in. It's a fast play from Elian. He's actually managed to get between 2 of the mollies. Nice pick onto Raijin to open things up. He's want to go even further. Sviat's still alive in towards Dig. Will be a thorn in the side though, and now they're just walking through a smoke into waterfalls. Such a promising start, and it's completely derailed. A double kill from the 4A1S leaves Crad and Forrester once again scrambled. Bomb dropped middle of that B site. Forrester trying to get rid of rifles. Crad's now going to be caught in towards middle. Forrester upgrades onto the AK-47, but he's got a 1v4 to contend with. Such promising beginnings, Dean, and they continue to fall apart for Entropiq.
Forrester all alone. Nice little headshot on Sugar. That was actually the healthiest of the players as well, so maybe there is a bit of a shot here. The time is there for him. 50 seconds left on the clock. Nades-wise has a flash. He had a smoke, that would be fantastic just to block off one of these angles, but they peek in. Waterfalls goes down. It is how they naturally occur after all. Well, he actually wants to, I believe, push through and see if he can force the one-on-one again, but he doesn't expect the player to be so aggressive on the angle. Sviat stays up close, crouched down, and well, spots the booty coming around, I believe. That's his prize. Tied at 10-10, and as I mentioned now, a lead is going to be found for AVE Wolfie. It's happening. Entropiq, they can get some pistols. They have the loss bonus going, obviously. But they've just all slowed down dramatically since what had been an 8-1 lead, I'm pretty sure, even. It was at the very least 7-1.
Yeah, I think 7-0, then 7-1, then 8-1, but it's one of those ones where they just haven't started. If we're being honest on this T side, the nade stacks are so damn good for AVE. And again, the early pick is found. This time the Molotov finishes it. Sviat credited with the kill. Very much a team effort. Molotov, 2 HEs to keep them stuck in that molly. And, well, a little bit derailing for the T side. Elian trying to loop things back in towards this A site. Will get the first pick. And now the AWP isolated, being gunned down from 2 angles, will be found. Site open for the taking. Elian gets the upgrade, and he gets another pick with it as well. Poria the next to fall. Not like this. It was the free round, AVE. This was the one you had to get done. You had to take the lead, and instead, you've got Raijin and Sviat looking to save what rifles they can. Toying with going back into this one, but the bomb already halfway gone. The afterplant position's fantastic. Information gathered by Nickelback as well, and it's done. Entropiq will be having an 11th. Nickelback at the very least goes down, but As long as Alien can get away with the AWP and the round is Entropiq's, that is a huge success for the T side.
Yeah, damn, managing to steal it away. We start saying how AVE are building themselves back into it, and then just a tremendous push towards that A bomb site. I want to also know how, despite Alien being on like 2 health, his teammate was more than happy to give the up over to him. It just kind of shows you the confidence that they have in him. And well, he definitely made it work with a pretty much instantaneous pick onto the man rotating through the spawn at that point. So 11 to 10, Entropiq, they don't let AVE snatch the lead in their favor, instead immediately taking it back themselves. They've still got to crack through another gun round before it really gets back to smooth sailing for them. So there is still a chance for AVE pick things back up where they left off, and hopefully, in that case, kind of forget about what went wrong in that previous round. Although not exactly. Don't let it happen again. Well, the mid control coming through pretty quickly for Entropiq. Lackey's actually crept all the way through the smoke. There's no one watching this. They actually stacked the third player on towards B. He's going to wrap in behind A. Oh, no one else is set up for it, which is the issue, but he should at least be able to snatch himself a kill. And at that stage, may just start to pull some players away from that B bomb site, although I do believe now they're going to start to move back around. Indeed, nades and mollies down. It takes all of the attention. Sugar has no idea. In from the temple. Lackey even gets himself the second. A is open for the taking, and honestly, at this point, if you're AVE, you don't even really begin to rotate. Those weapons are going to be saved.
Such a pivotal moment in the context of the game. Save now has to come through. Crad, aware, is already starting to think about hunting down some of these remaining CT rifles. Warrior will be passed by at the very least. Alien with the flick. Deals with waterfalls, and now the numbers starting to thin. Molotovs and nades actually going on to that AWP as well to make it damn near impossible to recover as it can be. Alien with another big pick, deals with Raijin, and now Poria, the only man currently able to save. Such a critical moment. The economy of that CT side at absolute breaking point, and he's being hunted. They know just what taking this rifle away would mean in the context of the game. Poria doing everything he can just to stay alive. Tucks himself into the cubby. Looks to play around his smoke. The time is up, and he will be allowed to live. Poria does get the kill that keeps him alive, but as you look over at that CT economy with only a $2,400 loss bonus coming up, it's getting a little rough at the worst possible time.
Yeah, right as they got into it, really. Unfortunately, from most of the game, they had just been kind of fighting their way back into contention after having what was an incredibly rough start. And as soon as it looks realistic that they're about to actually start taking some true control for themselves, obviously the pistol round or the anti-force buy goes wrong, and well, suddenly Entropiq have just got back into their winning ways and should be heading up towards 13. Definitely going to be considered an unlucky number at this stage for AVE. Bit of damage to the smoke. That might actually let Sugar push in. Thought he was considering it. The deagle against the tagged up player. Obviously, they weren't aware of it, but it looked like the USP spam was initially trying to act as just a slight bait. Either way, though, deciding against it instead of stack call towards the A bomb site, which I can totally back again. When you have so little, you may as well make a bit of a gamble. They do have an AUG as well that could definitely get something done. The problem is it's a gamble. It doesn't always work out, and in the meantime, Entropiq have just walked straight onto B, so they've made the correct call as well.
Brad's gone for a little bit of a wander. Use the utility, don't take any risks, but it's going to be round 13 on the board for Entropiq. And going through his own Molotovs just to make absolutely sure that Lamps is clear. Job done. AVE again. Saving the AUG has to become a priority right now. And to be fair, Raijin yet to take any damage. If the armor is saved on there, it's only $350 to get head armor if they even want to bother. So a couple of the USPs will be sent out on a scouting mission just to see if they can spot anyone out. But I don't think either team are going to be particularly interested in engaging here. Crad, speculative flash, but there's no real value in Entropiq hunting down the majority of these guys. If anything, you're just hand-delivering rifles. So a nice little handshake as Entropiq have their 13th.
I don't love the economy here for AVE, unfortunately, going into what could be one of their last gun rounds. It's not the worst. I mean, decent nades, I do believe, comes out behind the rifles at least, but you can see they have to sacrifice a bit onto a couple of those players, being Sviat and Sugar. I was going to say there was no kit available. Thankfully, Poria actually just had a ton of money left over, so he's able to go ahead and get himself one. So that's not going to be too much of an issue at least. But again, it's a must-win. Do or die right now for AVE. With this being their map choice, especially with Mirage coming up next, where Entropiq are going to be feeling, I would imagine, much more comfortable. Where AVE might have a harder time in general. Good nade though there in the beginning on towards Crad. He's going to be feeling that one for a while. Back, I think, got tagged slightly elsewhere also, so not a terrible start for AVE overall. A ton of nades have just been tossed over onto B. Has it pulled players? It does seem to have actually pulled those A players at least back in towards the spawn. So this has worked really well to set up the split now. A couple of smokes could be put down. No, they have no smokes left. Never mind. They actually threw so many on towards B that it has literally left them with just a single flash and molly. Oh, they must have thrown one already as I looked at it. It was just all the way across the map. So they do have one towards Temple. A flash then comes in as well. It doesn't blind up Sugar now. But at long range, that spray needs to be perfect, and he's not able to land the kill.
Bomb goes down, but Elian goes wandering. Waterfalls gives his team the man advantage. Now that damage could prove to be significant. Sneaky play comes out from Sugar, not quite able to land it. Are they going to give this retake a go? Couple of players in towards CT. One looking to push the issue on Temple. Still low HP. Crad will be found, but the trades are good for now. Perfect pot flash deals with Lackey. And 2v3. Forrester on only 14 HP. A smoke goes in and it could do everything. Forrester through it though. Has found the first. Now Poria looking to stick this defuse inside of the smoke, but the spray down is good. Nickelback like lightning with the adjustment. Gets 14. It breaks AVE's economy all over again, and the CT side just looking on in desperation now.
Looks like they don't really want to play for an overtime either. Just straight on into the buy again. They actually somehow managed an op on Waterfalls. A bit of extra money. I thought it was Poria who had the extra in the round before, but actually, yeah, it was, sorry. Now that I look at what he spent, I realise he dropped the up over and took off a massive return. So good teammate there. Good teamwork for you. Waterfalls is going to have to get a lot of work done to make that worthwhile. And to keep AVE in with a chance here on Ancient. Otherwise, as we mentioned, things are going to get rough. It will be Entropiq on track for a 2-0 with Mirage up next for sure. And, well, a good start at least. Fiat's actually going to catch one on the MP9. Can't get the weapon or anything, but he's happy to just drop the smoke and hope to keep this advantage now in favour of his team. And well, I think they were even hoping Entropiq would maybe try and press the issue through that smoke, giving away a little bit, but not going to happen. They can back off through cave, maybe not. Fiat wants to stick around a small bit. Either way though, Entropiq have very little control. They're just all towards B now.
Some smart plays being made over on the other side of the map by AVE as well. They've taken long. Sugar with the Deagle has pushed on through. Now Waterfall's flashed into the angle's going to have a freebie. Elian, no supporting utility, goes for the dry peek and is punished. Starting to look very rough indeed for Entropiq. They're setting something up. The utility will go through. Molotovs and smokes just to try and buy a little bit of breathing room. The bomb on the back of Forrester, just trying to sell this fake. They want to double back again towards A, but that flank through long is now everything. Poria just has to stay alive in the donut, and he's let the first man past. The T side have absolutely no idea. They've called this wide open. Forrester with his knife out, runs to his death. It's done. Asian with the backstab finds one more, and Lackey so desperately alone on that site is spammed down by Sugar. So AVE with very little bought into the round, get it done. Not going to get easier on the buys from Entropiq, but they've bought themselves a lifeline.
Yeah, and off the back of, as we said, a pretty shaky buy. So, great work being done. I like the early initiative that we've seen as well to take a little bit of pressure off them on what has been otherwise a pretty tough time. That was one of the more aggressive rounds, definitely, that we've seen, as you mentioned, even with the push coming up around A main as well. All around, they've done a lot there to make sure that what little they had would be in the best positions possible. So well played. We'll see now whether it can actually amount to a full comeback or not, of course. Because that's got to be the goal here on their own map choice. Early mid-control again for Entropiq being found. Also, they've got that execute straight out of spawn. Seems to be a bit too much for AVE to deal with. Already blinded up. They're going to go straight through the smoke. There is at least a trade ready immediately from Waterfalls. Smokes are going to go down, blocking Waterfalls off and leaving, I believe that is now Sugar in on the bomb site in a bit of a rough spot. Although, for now anyway, no commitments are going to come true. Happy enough to keep that mid-control, keep one man in Donut, and I believe Rap Forest, they're back around through the spawn. But having a look at the health right now for Entropiq, this is still definitely a very recoverable spot for AVE. Despite the current position and leaving them a little bit weak on B.
Still very much feels like this one could swing either way. Sviat's aggression, if he can deal with Crab on low HP, but he can't. The jump across finds the headshot. That has got to be tilting. You're not meant to do that, Crad, and still the connection is found on low HP. The frag is converted, and at this point, do you even want to give this a go? Raiden through the smoke has managed to find Crab. That may tempt them in, but Forrester is there for the execution. The bomb will go down. Nickelback is still in towards Donut, so it is a 2-on-2 if the CTs want to commit, but at this point, looking at their economy, looking at the situation, do they even want to give it a go? Sugar does deal with the flank and leaves it 2-on-2. Waterfall's in a good spot as well. This isn't done just yet. They're trying to push in the CT side. Entropiq, though, just entrenched on this site, not peeking anything. There's the swing, the 1-for-1 trade, leaves it up to Sugar 1v1, and he will be able to get towards that bomb. It is not planted for Elian. He's going to have to push this issue. He's baited into it, and Sugar with the kit. This is going to be mighty close, but he hasn't quite got it done. Entropiq, by the skin on their teeth, survive. It's just not getting the rub of the green today, AVE. 15-11, economy in a really rough spot again, and Entropiq looking to take their opposition's map pick.
Such a nice attempt from Sugar. A couple of milliseconds really off of being able to get that defuse in for himself. It is unfortunate. I think overall, though, I've been pretty impressed by AVE. Again, they had a very rough start. The ability then to get themselves back into that on their T side, and overall to have a challenge here on their CT side as well, despite some rough moments where they've had that economy broken and such. They've kept it competitive. I think with time, with things cleaned up, especially this game could be impressive. Sugar gives it his best up close there with the AUG on the main. You just tried to bulldoze through that smoke, and honestly works out relatively well. The Forrester's tagged up a small bit. You've already got quick rotations coming in. So despite this bomb likely to be planted, we do have AVE in a strong position for the retake, and well, with great damage done on top of that, already pushing around those smokes as well, not wanting to give too much time for the afterplant to be set up. Problem is, you've got Elian again in the back with this AWP, dink down, but he still gets it. Ryan falls. Elian, he might be the one to carry them over this finish line, unless Poria and Waterfalls have something to say about it.
Still haven't cleared out the man on site either, and Krad's going to take full advantage of it for the first. Nickelback converts 16-11. Entropiq looking dominant on Ancient, and worrying signs for AVE, you have to